I'm Brandon McLean, and I have a car buying addiction. In order to combat this, I opened a mechanic shop to make some money, to help restore my cars while helping the people I can. Problem is, I can't stop buying cars. I have a lot of cars to restore and little time to do it, and the more I talk about it, the less time I can be doing it. So welcome to Terminated Restorations. Alright. Finish installing the rockers. And then exhaust manifold. And then the covers. I think this engine should be good to go back in the car. Moved my crane back away. Okay, let's get this installed back into the car and check the condition. Okay, looks like we are good on most of the engine stuff. Need to lift it back up. Finish back here because I noticed we didn't reinstall the plate mountings, which would have been a big no-no in order to pass inspection. If you want to pass inspection, you probably want to have your plates mounted correctly. Because this guy just wanted to make sure the car passed inspection. I don't think that meant that he was 100% sure about having to rip into everything in the rear end and a lot of deep parts of the motor. Make sure we get all of the parts reinstalled this time, because last time I forgot to put a drive shaft back in. This time it looks like I think that clears it, and now we just gotta put some new oil in the motor. Oops. You know when you hit the wrong way on your lift by accident? Lift the car all the way back up? Because it doesn't need to be in the air for us to fill up the oil. Alright. Car should be good to go. Alright, today we're working on this Caster Avalanche. Customer brought it in. Steering issues. Doesn't feel safe driving it. Please fix whatever is wrong with it. And also we need to change the oil. So when you diagnose front end issues, that's a difficult one. So hopefully the car will start and we can just take it into the path. Must be fine. It looks like we brought it around. Let's go ahead and start the path test. Yeah, front brakes basically shot. Rear brakes also kind of shot. Front suspension is worn out. And the rear suspension is in good shape. Long list of front parts that we need to fix. Alright. Let's go ahead and chalk these all up on the to-do list. And we will just start ripping into this car. From initial looks, the front rims need to be replaced. They look really bad. Alright, let's get this moved on to the lift. Alright, it's going to be needed to lift off the ground a little bit. Start under the hood. Brake servo needs to be gone. I believe the ABS looks like it is done as well. Rip off that ABS. Now we need to check the tire tread. That's the electrics. Yeah, might as well check to make sure nothing's wrong with the electric systems while we're at it, I guess. I doubt it, but yeah, nothing's wrong there. We need to check the tread on these tires. I know the rims are bad, but let's see if the tires are bad. Yep, front tires also need to be replaced. So rim and tires. Let's go ahead and just get those off. And get those on. So we don't need to separate them, we just need to order the parts. So we need rims. I think they're under the, yeah. And then we need two 19-inch rims. And then for tires, standard tire. It's 19-inch by 235 width by 55 profile. We need two of these. Go ahead and get these on the installation machine. While that's working, let's go ahead and just rip into the rest of this car. Get everything removed. Drive axle's still good. Bearing's still good. Hub looks like it's still really good. Cover definitely needs to be replaced. Tire rod end. Makes sense, steering problem. Let's just get all of that. That's the bearing. A lot of this stuff looks to be in good shape when it comes to wheel, like the drive, but not when it comes to anything to do with the steering, which makes sense. But usually if you see this much damage, I presume you'd end up seeing more damage to other parts. Okay, let's get this one on the balancer. And we'll install the other one. Now, it did say we had some problems on the rear. Yes. Brake disc needs to be replaced for sure. And this rear shock arm on this side. On the other side, same thing. Looks like. Let's go ahead and get this caliper off. Caliper doesn't need to be replaced, but that pad also doesn't need to be replaced. The disc does. These need to be replaced. Bushings look like they need to be replaced back here. Looks like all four. Okay, let's go ahead and get those ordered. Four bushings. Brake disc, we need two of these. Front ones we need two of. 3 pads. And 2 calipers. And then, did we do the ABS and all that yet? I don't think so. ABS. And then we also need the brake servo as well. Then we need... What else do we need? What was the thing on the back? We needed rear suspension. Rear suspension. Upper arm. This one. Okay, let's get... Did the bushings need to be replaced in these? No. Okay, then we need the brake disc. Get the bushings on the side remounted. Then we can have the rear end done. Pads. Don't think this side needed pads. Yeah, let's get the other side done. Maybe it was that side that needed pads. Let's go ahead and just rip that off again. Put the new pads on that side. Actually, how much is a set of brake pads? If they aren't too expensive, we will just get him another set. Okay, I just took this tire off for no reason. Just do all 4 new brake pads. This side does not need the new caliper. We'll figure out that that's wrong later. Alright. Oh, we need to replace upper suspension arm. Nope. There we go. Get the bushings replaced. Wait a second. I have extra bushings. Those are from up front, aren't they? I think so. Okay. One tire balanced, and then we'll get the other one on there. Okay. Go back into ripping off everything on the front. Okay, that crossmember needs to come out. Steering rack obviously needs to come out. Okay. Get the absorber off. Knuckle, sway bar, steering rack, crossmember. Let's see, is that everything for this? Okay, it looks to be. And yes, I am ripping this tire back off because it looks like the wrong brake pads were installed. Yep, slightly worn brake pads. Is this the side that needed the new caliper? Let's go with yes. Okay. Now, time to order a bunch of parts for the front. Let's see, we already got the ABS modules, so let's go ahead and get those installed along with the brake servo. Brake servo, ABS pump, ABS module. Okay, that is all good and done. Lift her back up. So we need rubber bushings, 4 of these. Might have extra, but who cares? Front shock absorber. What do we need? A's. And then we need 2 caps. Spring. 2 of those. Lower suspension arms, we need 2 of these. Front axle cover, we need 1 of these. Front steering. Knuckle A, we need 2. Tie rods, we need 2 of each. Front sway bar. And then steering rack. Cross member. We need the regular front cross member. And that should be everything. Guess we'll know when we start trying to reinstall parts. Get this in, put the new bushings in. I think we have extra. Yeah, we have a couple extra, it looks like. Actually, maybe 1 extra? I can't count. Okay, knuckle, sway bar, steering rack, knuckle. Alright, let's start on this side. This is the side that doesn't need the new knuckle cover. Suspension arm. Hub. Bearing. Drive axle. Vented disc. New set of brake pads. Non-new caliper. Alright. Tie rods. So I still gotta go assemble the shock absorbers, which I will go do right now. And okay, shock absorber. Get that one assembling while we work on the other side. So lower suspension arm with Two not quite new bushings, but still in good condition. And then tie rod. Wheel cover. And then front axle hub. Wheel bearing. Drive axle. Vented disc. Brake pad. Caliper. Perfect. Now we just need those shock absorbers. And we can put those and the tires back on. Okay, putting on the new shock absorber. And we need the sway bar, which goes on the side. We can put the standard tire back on. Put the new tire, new rim. And go grab the other one, do the other side. Shock absorber. Sway bar and link. And the new rim and tire. Perfect. And while we have it up, might as well drain the old oil. And we'll check car status. Brake caliper has not been done on the one side that needs to be done. So I put a new caliper somewhere on the car that didn't need to be where it is. Same with the axle cover, I put that on the wrong side too. So we'll get those corrected. Which one is the one that needs to be done? This one. Alright, we'll get it a new caliper and a new knuckle cover. Just for the hell of it. New... because I don't really want to tear apart the car again. Yeah, it's probably eat into my profits a little bit, but anything to make a person happy. Okay. Okay. Now, brand new brake caliper. Nope, I need to not do that. I need to actually get back to the knuckle again, which requires taking a lot of stuff off. All this was slightly worn. Knuckle cover. But new part's a new part. Perfect. Let's get this car lowered. Everything here's done, and so we just need to fill it with some oil. Perfect. This should be all done. Good to go. Perfect. Customer brings this car in, Boltorn Grand Mojave, and he's been a little rough on it. He's kind of like our Olsen Grand guy. Ran it a little rough. At least this guy doesn't say he's doing much off-roading, but driving around a vineyard, not being easy on it. From what he told me, it needs a tie rod, and that's it. And from initial view, you can see it needs some new rims pretty desperately. Probably new tires, but let's go ahead and examine that and see if we need new tires or not. My assumption is yes, we will need new tires. But of course, we'll do the full rundown. Yep, 4 new tires, 4 new rims. Let's look in here. Wonder if the battery is dead or not. Alright, starter for sure. This radiator might need to be looked at. We'll go ahead and rip it out when we get to that point. It says an OBD, so let's scan that and see what we can find out about all of those. Alright, just the ABS module off of that. And finally, we'll do a compression test before we try to put it on the test path. Ooh, crankshaft. That's going to take a little bit of time. Alright, does the car start? No. So let's go ahead and start working on it, I guess. I'm just going to do enough to it to get it started, so easiest way, rip the engine out, take a look underneath. Alright. So, in order to get to the gearbox, we need to take off drive shaft, which, alright, that immediately needs to go on the order. This drive shaft here. From the way it looks, a lot of parts on this are really fried. This transfer case is definitely going on there. It might need a new gearbox, so I'll throw it on the list. Yeah, transfer case was needed. I know I need that starter in order to actually even get the thing running again. Do we need a gearbox? Answer to that question is yes. Alright. Let's get the oil drained. And we'll get this engine out of here. Alright, get it right onto the stand. Start ripping into that. Battery wasn't needed to replace, but well, we have this open. Radiators and fan look fine. Put a brand new one in. Doesn't need a brand new one. And the fan housing, put those back in. Let's take a look at this air filter while we're here. Yep, that looks like it needs replaced. And that is correct. Brake servo, yep, let's get one of those going. ABS pump and module need replaced. So we'll go ahead and get those two. Alright, let's get all that stuff ordered so we can clear this list. So we need a regular air filter, ABS module, ABS pump. Need a starter for the V8. Need a brake servo. Gearbox. V8 gearbox, where we at? V8, V8. This one. Need a transfer case. And a front drive shaft. B. It's an axle, I need a shaft. Drive shaft B. Right, that clears that list. Okay, let's get all that reinstalled. That's one less thing out of the way. Get the brake servo installed, and then air filter. Make sure we get all these clips back on it, because I am known to forget those. I'm not too worried about it, but the customer might not be happy. Alright, let's tear into this engine now. Let's start at the back. Clutch bearing. Clutch pressure plate. The plate is fine. Need a flywheel. So let's go ahead and get those before I forget. So we need pressure plate, that, and a flywheel. Perfect. Alright, let's continue working on this engine. Because we know the crankshaft needs replaced, and that's all the way at the bottom of the engine. I think we're going to need that oil filter for sure. Coil covers are fine. Pretty sure all the ignition coils were fine. Gonna need a fuel filter. Let's get these spark plugs out while I'm thinking about it. Then we can start ripping off all this front stuff. Okay, serpentine belts. Those look like they need new ones. Wouldn't be surprised if we need rollers, but we'll see that as we go. Alternator, we're good. Okay, let's get pulleys off. Belt tensioner. And another serpentine belt. Yep, those need to go. Good on that. Good on that. That power steering pump looks like it needs to be replaced. I'm gonna add it to the list. Yep, that was correct. Get the rest of these idlers off so we can get the covers off, so we can get the timing cover off. And it's a long process. Get this water pump out. Alright, time to get these heads off. Looks like all the camshafts are good, which is a good sign. And the heads were good. Fuel rails were good. Intake can't come off yet. Alright, timing cover, let's go. How about these timing belts? 2 good timing belts, cam gears. 4 good cam gears, cam shafts. 4 good cam shafts. Throttle's good. Alright, what about our intake? Intake's good. Exhaust manifold was fine. Engine head, let's go. Pretty sure these are good. Just a little worn. Yeah, that one's a little worn. That one's good. Alright, let's rotate this engine and start working on the bottom. Oil pan. We're good. Alright, we know we need a new crank. And the pistons were good, but we need to remove all these pistons. Were the bearing caps good, or do we need those replaced? The bearing caps are good. Or good enough for our purposes. Alright, piston, piston. Alright, engine block was fine, and that's the only thing left on the stand. Alright, so let's go ahead and order everything that's on this list. Oil filter. We need the regular V8. We need a fuel filter. We need serpentine belt A for a V8, which is right there. And then we need serpentine belt B for a V8, which is right there. Power steering for the V8. And a crankshaft for a V8. Perfect. I think that is everything to get this engine back together. And flywheel, clutch plate was fine. Pressure plate. And bearing, power steering pump, alternator, piston, 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 rotate the engine back. Start reassembling. after all that, I think our motor is ready to be reinstalled back into the car. Perfect. Alright. Let's go ahead and get oil in there. And we're done with the engine hoist. Let's get a gearbox and drive shafts back on her and see if we can take her over to the tester for the path tester. That's what it is. Alright, will she start? Yes, she will. Let's go figure out what's wrong underneath. I forgot to put a throttle in it. Now she might go. Just as I thought, the underneath is a little trashed on this thing. So a lot of replacements need to happen. Especially the tires, it's a major one. Brakes, all of them. And yeah. Alright, let's get her over on the lift.
Shut up and sit down.